Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly settle down. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly settle down. The speakers, the chief guests all arrived, and some people are enjoying the refreshments. The moment you finish, you can just walk in. In the meanwhile, I started 2 minutes before time because I don't want to eat into Ambi's time because he's one of the most sought after speaker. So we don't want to take any time out of the allotted slot. Now, what I want to briefly tell you is what's happening next few days in MMA so that you don't miss it and you attend all the events, what's happening. What's happening is tomorrow, 26th of July. It's a must program for everybody, especially for MMA members. Immunity intelligence, wellness strategies for high performance living. We have 4 outstanding doctors coming and sharing their perspective. One is Dr. Damanishi Lovely. She is a dietitian from Apollo Hospital. She is going to tell all about what diet you should be doing. Then we got Dr. Lakshmi Nair. She is the head of physical medicine rehabilitation from Apollo Hospital. Then we got Madhumita. She is a senior consultant infectious disease from MGM Hospital. And we have got Suresh Kumar, managing director of Best of IDs. There are 4 doctors, so you will have very good perspective. All that you need to know about your health, how to keep your health irrespective of your age, how to keep it very fit and agile at all time, because we are going to discuss this because things are very, very uncertain outside, but at least your physical thing could be certain. So come and attend this tomorrow. It will be very same time at MMA Management Center. Then we have an event at Pondicherry, the Future Ready Leaders. Then we have on 4th of July is our MMA AGM and the award function and the seminar. So we have got 4 outstanding organizations who have won. They will be making the presentation under 4 categories, manufacturing, services, education and SMS. And also followed by award function where Dr. Sunita Reddy, MD of Apollo Hospital, has kindly agreed to come and deliver the valedictory address. We also have Kamal Bali, who is the president and managing director of Volvo, will be delivering the keynote address. It's happening on 4th of July, followed by dinner. We also have the MMA AGM. We're showcasing what's happening at MMA, at the AGM. Please do come and join us for dinner. That's an occasion we want to tell you what MMA has done over the year. And without your support, you wouldn't have achieved all that what you have done last 1 year. 12th July, again, we have discussion on the road ahead, 2.0 at IIT Madras. It's happening and we are one of the partners. We have Professor Sitaraman, who is the chairman of AICT, is going to be talking to us. We have Professor Kamakodi, Lakshmi Narayanan, and Vaidya Subramaniam, Vice Chancellor of Shastra University will be there. Then on 19th of July, we have done even till almost July, August, till end of August. Please do come. Then on 19th of July also we have a discussion on the nurturing quotient and how to grow yourself. That we have got Nirupama Subramaniam and Rajesh will be asking. Again, we'll be having Sathya for that event. On 23rd, we have again Read and Grow. Then 28th, we have Venkat Changanelli is a former, he's the one who started 108 ambulance service. The review, insight, enabler for execution and excellence. We have got a number of other events also tied up and we'll share it as and when they are finalized. Coming to today's event, marketing mixology, 4 essential ingredients for marketing success. And anyway, Ambi is, you all know him. When Ambi talks something, we all walk miles to listen to him. And Ambi when choose to come to Chennai, and we have always the privilege of discussing Ambi's book every time. It's always a privilege to host him here at MMA. And Ambi is not new to MMA. And let me formally welcome the distinguished Ambi and the panel for this evening to take their place on the dais. Dr. Ambi Parameswaran, author, brand coach, brand strategist, founder of brandbuilding.com, many things. And please take your place on the dais. We have Lakshmi Narayan Doreswamy, is the senior vice president MMA. And Mr. L. Ramkumar, past president and also former managing director of Tube Investments. Sathya Sriram, independent advisor. And Manoj Padmanaban. Manoj is a restaurateur, chief mixologist, culinary storyteller. May I request, ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause to a very, very beautiful panel we have this evening. We are going to share some interesting insights with you today. So as usual, I am going to request Lakshmi Narayanan to formally deliver the welcome address. Thereafter, we have the formal launch of the book, what is authored by Ambi. The book is available for you at a special price for you to sale outside. You can pick up a copy of yours, and I can tell you, I've gone through the book, very, very interesting. So many things will think. One thing I learned from Ambi and also from the thing is Manoj what is mixology. Mixology, being an armed force guy, we know that mixology is very well, but I understood this, how it works here is that the cocktails, how you take so much of care, that the same care you must take about your marketing. I think it'll get blend and it'll sell very well. I think it's a very beautiful concept. Now, before any further ado, we'll get on with the event for this evening. Lakshmi Narayanan Doraiswamy is currently the Managing Director of Sundaram Home Finance. He has over 30 years of experience in financial services and is risk management specialist. He's also done his worked in GE Capital Australia. He's an MBA from Laila and also Chennai, and he's also a cost accountant. And now I request Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan to please deliver the formal welcome address. Over to Mr. Lakshmi.
Good evening, all of you. Thank you, Group Captain. It's indeed my privilege to deliver this formal welcome address this evening during the discussion on the book Marketing Mixology, 4 Essential Ingredients for Marketing Success, authored by Ambi. It's my pleasure to welcome this evening the mix of speakers. Dr. Ambi Parameswaran, author and brand coach, brand strategist and founder, brandbuilding.com. Mr. L. Ramkumar, independent director, angel investor and mentor, and former managing director of Tube Investments India Limited. Dr. Sathya Sriram, independent advisor. Mr. Manoj Padmanaban, restaurateur, chef, mixologist, and culinary storyteller. I take this opportunity to welcome all the members of MMA, our guests from other organizations, and all the participants who've joined us online. For the benefit of our guests and the invitees from various organizations, it gives me immense pleasure that MMA, which was established in 1956, has evolved today as the largest management association in the country, with over 10 chapters in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, and with over 8,000 members today. MMA has also been awarded the Best Management Association in the country for 14 times running in a row, including the previous year. In a world where marketing is evolving at a very rapid pace, marketing mixology arrives both at a timely and a timeless scale. Drawing a parallel between the art of mixology and the science of marketing, the book dwells into key ingredients that make for enduring marketing success: brand purpose, customer centricity, content, and technology. This book offers practical insights and new age wisdom for both seasoned professionals and aspiring marketers. Like a master mixologist, Ambi artfully blends these elements into a compelling narrative, rich with real-world examples and rooted in decades of experience. He balances insight with accessibility, bridging the gap between marketing theory and boardroom reality. As we turn the pages of marketing mixology, we are reminded that while the platforms and tools might change, the essence of good marketing, rooted in purpose and relevance, still remain the same. Whether you are a startup entrepreneur, a seasoned marketer, or a curious reader, this book offers clarity and inspiration in equal measure. We are indeed fortunate to have amongst us this evening Mr. Manoj Padmanaban, a professional mixologist and a culinary storyteller, joining the discussion with Mr. Ramkumar, a successful business leader, and Dr. Sathya Sriram, who comes with enormous experience in the media. I'm sure the session will be insightful and enriching to all of us gathered here and those watching it live. I once again thank my colleagues from the management committee, members of MMA, distinguished invitees of MMA, and partner organizations who have joined us today, and viewers from all over the globe watching this program live. I thank CAS for their constant support. Wishing you all a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan. And before we move further, let's have the formality of launching the book officially. And just to tell about Ambi, all his books we have done it, and Ambi is always done only with MMA. He's a great supporter of MMA and this activity. Thank you, Ambi, every time for choosing MMA to do this. We are indeed privileged. We walk miles to listen to Ambi, and it's been great supported. A lot of brand initiative of MMA, Ambi has been great supporter of MMA. Now, I'll request you please step forward. I'll also request Mali to join us for the official soft launch of the book. The book is, as I said, is available. Before I request Ambi to say a few words about his book and take the discussion forward, let me have the privilege of introducing distinguished panel for this evening. May I have the AV, please.
Dr. Ambi Parameswaran is a brand coach, author, and founder of brandbuilding.com. With over 40 years in corporate India, he has led top brands across sectors and authored 11 best-selling books. A former ad agency head, Dr. Ambi now teaches at IIMs and SPJIMR and mentors businesses. He is a regular columnist and speaker at industry forums. Dr. Ambi is a distinguished alumnus of IIT Madras and IIM Calcutta and a Harvard and graduate. Mr. Ramkumar is an independent director, angel investor, and former MD of Tube Investments of India Limited. An IIM alumnus, he serves on several corporate boards and mentors startups via the Chennai Angels and IITM Incubator. With 30 plus years of leadership in manufacturing and finance, Mr. Ramkumar has driven turnarounds, growth, and M&A. He is also a past president of MMA and a recipient of Loyola's Business Leader of the Year Award. Dr. Sathya Sriram is an independent advisor specializing in healthcare strategy, preventive care, and leadership development. Formerly CEO of Preventive Health at Apollo Hospitals, she scaled the Apollo ProHealth program. With prior experience at McKinsey and the Hindu Group, Dr. Sathya blends strategic and operational expertise. Dr. Sathya also teaches leadership at IIT Madras and holds a PhD from Johns Hopkins University. Mr. Manoj Padmanaban is a self-taught chef, mixologist, and co-founder of Pandan Club, India's first Peranakan restaurant. Mr. Manoj creates immersive dining and beverage experiences that fuse storytelling, innovation, and regional flavors. Through ventures like Big Bandha and Sort Cafe, he blends food with culture and collaboration. A pioneer in India's 0% ABV movement, Mr. Manoj is known for his narrative-driven culinary approach.
That's a very, very high-profile panel this evening. And if you have any questions, all the audience watching the program, you can send the numbers, your question. And audience here, there's a Mentimeter, so you can just scan and send your questions so that we can take as many questions as possible. Can I have a scan QR code for the Mentimeter? So if you have any question, please send to them. The distinguished panelists agree to respond to all your questions. The questions should be only relevant to discussion what's happening this evening. Thank you. Over to Ambi.
Hello. Can all of you hear me at the back? Yeah? Gautam, can you hear me? Yeah. Anand, can you hear me? Okay, so first of all, let me thank MMA for hosting this session, and my go-to person is Group Captain Vijay Kumar. I've said this before in this forum earlier. You know, Group Captain Vijay Kumar's father and my father were friends from first standard. They've been very close friends for many, many, many years, and I'm delighted that I can call, you know, Group Captain Vijay Kumar as a friend. And all I have to do is send him a copy of my new book, and he will call me and say, look, when are you doing the launch at MMA? And so thank you, Vijay, for arranging this, and delighted to be here. So you may wonder, you know, normally in a book launch, the author will talk a lot and there'll be someone interviewing the author, right? So I'm doing it differently. I'm going to talk a little bit about my book. Then I'm going to quiz Ram and Sathya about my book. So let me thank Ram and Sathya for agreeing to be on this, you know, panel. And of course, I've got a very, very interesting person, Manoj, who says I don't read books, which is great, right? So he's going to talk about mixology, right? So it's going to be a fun conversation, and we'll, you know, when do we need to finish, Vijay? 7:15. Okay. Okay. So we'll have, you know, you can't get him. He is India's #1 mixologist. So how many of you drink hard liquor? How many of you drink hard liquor here? So a lot of hands are not going up, but he can give you some pretty interesting tips. So we will come. Okay, so let me first start telling you a little bit about the book, and then we'll get to Ram and Sathya to talk more about. The book is a very simple book, and you may ask me why give this funny title, Marketing Mixology. So the book was actually born in very different form. You know, about 4 years ago, Gautam, who's there at the back, my publisher at Westland, they had a joint venture with Amazon, and Amazon wanted me to write a short book for their Amazon Prime offer. So I wrote a 10,000 word book, a mini book on negotiations. That book did very well. It actually topped Amazon Prime ratings. And the next year they again invited me. I wrote another short version on branding. So these were sold to Amazon, but after 1 year, the copyright came back to me. So I had two 10,000 word pieces. My agent, Anish Chandy, and Gautam's colleague, Kartika, said, look, we can put out a nice little book if you write 2 more chapters. So I wrote 2 new chapters, one on understanding consumers and one on communication. And Aradeep went and looked at the 4 chapters together, and he said, these are not flowing together, so please rewrite. So I ended up, what I thought was an easy job, I ended up rewriting everything, and I put it together. And then I said, I need an interesting title. You know, I can't say simple marketing, I can't say easy marketing, you know, old boring title. So I said, something went to my head, I wanted a funny title. So I decided the title of the book should be Marketing Masala Mix. And I even thought of a nice cover of a Badshah Masala pack. Of course, Kartika threw a fit. She said, you can't, you know, with your name, you can't call it like that. So, sorry, you have to think of some other name. And what do you do when you need ideas these days? Google, boss. Google is over. What do you do when you need ideas? ChatGPT, right? So I went to ChatGPT and wrote multiple prompts. Hey, idhar aa ja, yaar. Where is he going? Where is he? Come sit here, yaar. So I went to ChatGPT, 3-4 rounds of prompting, and I found the word mixology somewhere. And that's where, you know, I said, Marketing Mixology is the title. And I asked ChatGPT, can you design a cover for me with 4 bottles, each bottle labeled, you know, branding, communication, this thing. And ChatGPT gave me a cover design, which was a little crude. But fortunately for me, both Anish Chandy and Kartika loved the title and even thought the cover was okay. And then later the cover was redesigned by an artist. And so that's the book you have. Why is it mixology? Why is it mixed? Because no marketing book writes about negotiation. This book, there's a full chapter on negotiation. No marketing book writes about communication. Book has a chapter on one-on-one communication and one-to-many communication. Because negotiation is something which I had written, so it stuck in my head. So there's an interesting little anecdote. I will spend a few minutes telling some stories and then I'll come to you. Okay. So in negotiation, there is an interesting story around Theodore Roosevelt. Do you know who he is? Who was he? Theodore Roosevelt, American president, I think 23rd or some president of America. We will not talk about the current president. I don't want MMA to be bombed. Okay. So Theodore Roosevelt was running for president. His campaign manager found a nice photograph of Theodore Roosevelt and printed a leaflet with that photograph. Not one leaflet, he printed 1 million leaflets. And then someone asked the campaign manager, have you taken permission from the photographer for this use of the Theodore Roosevelt photograph? The campaign manager said no. Okay, then you may have to reprint the leaflet, which is 1 million leaflet. Reprinting could cost you $2 million. Or you have to go and ask the photographer for permission, and he may want $1 million as a fee, as license fee. So the campaign manager is not like any of us. He's a political campaign manager. So he knew that he has to find a solution. He didn't have $1 million. So he sent a telegram. In those days, he sent a telegram to the photographer saying, great opportunity to publicize your work. We would like to use the photograph you had taken of Theodore Roosevelt in a campaign leaflet. How much will you pay us for this? So the photographer sent a telegram back. Thank you very much. I can only afford to pay you $250. The campaign manager says, okay. So he took $250. Instead of paying the photographer $1 million, he got $250 from the photographer. And this is, in negotiation terms, this is called information asymmetry. The campaign manager knew the leaflet has been printed, but the photographer had no idea. Right? And therefore, he traded on the information asymmetry, and he actually ended up making money instead of spending money. That's one episode. There are multiple other such stories which are there in the chapter on negotiation. It should be fun. Communication. In communication, I came across, and all of us write, and very often we write complex sentences. So I was doing some workshop for PepsiCo, and Shiv was the CEO then, did a little exercise with all of us, and he introduced me to this concept called the gunning fog index. Any of you heard of this gunning fog index? Right? So gunning fog index actually is a website. I mean, it's public domain. You can go. Anything you write, you can put it on the gunning fog index, and the index will tell you how many years of schooling you need to understand this para or this chapter or this article. So normal rule is if it is 8 or 9, you're okay. 7, 8, 9 is okay. Between 7 to 8 years of school education, you can understand that what has been written. Something like 12, 13, you're in danger zone. You need a doctorate like Sathya to understand or me. I'm not a real, but anyway, she's a more senior doctor than me. So you have to do a doctorate. So gunning fog index is a very interesting thing. So in the chapter I've written that this particular chapter I put through gunning fog index and it scored a 7, which means you'll easily understand this. So like this, there are multiple little things. In communication, there are many stories. Similarly, in the branding, there are multiple stories. So it's an easy to read book. Those of you who are in marketing can probably read it in about an hour and a half and kind of get your old concepts refreshed. Professors like Vijay Shankar there can read it in half an hour, right? IIM Calcutta toppers like Vichu or IIM Ahmedabad topper like Swami can read it in probably 20 minutes. But if you're new to marketing, of course, my old guru, Naru sitting there, will find the book very basic. Naru, hello, Naru. Naru is my old guru. He will find the book very, very basic. But for most of you who are relatively new to marketing, you will find this a very easy read, a good introduction to the concept of marketing. So what I'm going to do is to start asking, and Ram also has some questions for me, but asking Ram what he found interesting in the book, and then I'll go to Sathya, and then we'll come to the mixology part of today's conversation. Okay, so Ram, yeah.
First of all, thank you, Ambi and MMA, for having me in the panel. Let me answer the first question, is all the authors have when they have a panelist. I've read the book fully. Actually,
He has read the book fully, and in the panel, I will not tell you, someone has not read the book.
so that was already you told that. So I read the book. I think what struck me was the way you made the 4 chapters. I mean, one has started many moons back with the Philip Kotler and all that, like 4 P's, then they added one more P and S and all that. But very well done with the insights into actual way it works for various products and services. I think the idea of a consumer insight brand and then negotiation, selling and communication is in very simple ways telling people that your job or your marketing strategy or program is not complete unless you have all the 4.
Vaidi, frontல seat உனக்கு வச்சிருக்கீங்க வந்துரு.
Vaidi is searching for the last chair is already filled up, Vaidi. So you
Last row is not available. You have to sit in the first row for the first time in your life.
Vaidi, I think. Vaidi is classmate of
Vaidi
Ambi.
is the IIT Madras, a classmate of mine, the former head of technology for HCL. So,
Yeah. So first thing is I thought you had classified the thing very nicely. And then there are a lot of practical examples, as he had said. I don't want to repeat all of them. One of the things I found very interesting was in the first or the second page, I saw a QR code. So I thought, what is the QR code doing here? And out of curiosity, I just went and looked at the code. It's about linked to some 27 interviews he has had on the brand equity platform with the various practicing CMOs and CEOs. I mean, they're all up for different vintage in the sense they're much younger, must be in their 40s or hardly people with 15 to 25 years experience, which I think brings more authenticity to the whole thing, that it's connected with what's happening because things are changing, certain things, concepts have not changed, but I think practices have changed, consumers are changing. I think this is the second thing I found very interesting. Apart from that, I think the whole book is organized like this. First is the concept. I mean, it kind of gives you an idea, you do the minimum these things to say you're doing well on branding or whatever, consumer insight and all that. And then it's like a playbook, steps, even including how to write, written communication or what do you do one-on-one and all that. I think this I thought was quite good and quite useful is what I thought. Not only for students or people who are just starting the career, but those who are well experienced also would think that there are some new insights which are coming into this.
Zach, seat here kept for you. Come.
So that's.
Manoj, Zach aa gaya.
So I would say those are my initial thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ram. Thank you for those kind words. Honey. Front row. Again, Srini is old IIT Madras friend, and Zach is a owner of a very successful advertising agency called Rubicon. And we've known these three people I've known for probably 40 plus years. So Sathya, all yours. Satya's very diligent. She's made notes, she's put post-it tags, and
I took Ambi's advice in the book. It said prepare, 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 right? And so thank you. Absolutely delighted to be back here at the MMA. Thank you, Group Captain. Among so many friends of Ambi's and also my own. So lovely to be here this evening.
Aren't you nervous? Because your better half is sitting there?
I banned him from this evening, but he didn't listen, as always. But what struck me, right, as I read through the book, and I finished it this morning just in time for today, was how almost deceptively simple and straightforward the book was. And essentially, it's not flashy jargon, new trends, none of that. Cut straight through the core to what I'm going to call first principles. Know and listen to your customer. Make sure you have rigor in crafting a very sharp proposition for your brand. The psychology, more than anything else, of selling. And the fourth is clear, relevant, and deeply human communication. And I think for me, this is what actually stood out in the book, that it actually goes back to core skills of marketing that are truly enduring, right, over decades and over the times, and reminds marketeers, no doubt, but also I think it's a very easy read for all the other stakeholders in any organization who don't necessarily understand marketing, but need to be able to actually challenge marketeers also globally.
Thank you, Sathya. So, thank you very much. And now let's go to Manoj. Okay. So, Manoj, I want you to tell us what is the origin of this term, mixologist, and when did it start? And
Sure. Before going in there, let me clear some air here. Everybody is looking at as if I'm an odd man out
he has a very, very interesting background. So I think you should tell them.
I'll tell you, when I got this opportunity, I'm very privileged to be here, right? Zach called me one of those mornings that I call early mornings, 9 a.m., and he said, this is the man who's going to call you. I want you to do this. I said, exactly, very interesting. I'll speak to him. When he told about this, just a quick introduction where everybody thinks that I'm just a mixologist, where I stir up alcoholic drinks and make your evening fun. My day job, or the most interesting thing that I do, is marketing. I've been selling products. And today, the medium of marketing for me has changed. It has become Instagram. And as I was telling them, I've never been able to read much, but I'm sure that this book is going to become an audio book, and I will promise you I will take notes and send you. When I saw the title, Marketing Mixology, I said, damn, if there is a chance of writing my autobiography, this should have been a title, right? I have a perfect mix of marketing and mixology. So coming to this very interesting, and with the way that you are picking points on what the book is talking about, I'm very interested. Maybe this is the first book I will read.
But you should tell them that,
Sure.
Because people may get the wrong impression you never read books in your life. So.
I'm an engineer.
He's an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I've started cooking very early in age, more from a survival, because you can see me, I love to eat. My mom thought that I should learn cooking before I go to college, and that's when it all started. I come from a place called Mayuram, which is down south. And I was selling software services in the US. I came back to India, and then I took over my family business. I was running a very fundamental old chit funds company called Mayuram Finance Corporation Limited. It's a 75-year-old company. I tried to blend in 10 years, but I've never had an opportunity to sell a service there because I was a little misfit, so I sold the company. So that's the background. And when I sold it, I always wanted to be in F&B. That kind of interested me a lot. So I started a restaurant called Pandan Club in Chennai. That's the first restaurant that I've started. Now I'm in a full-time F&B profession. I run many other restaurants. And for a day job, I sell food through various mediums. And that's my job. And mixology is one portion of stuff that I do. I really enjoy mixing drinks. And also that came in while I got, as a sales guy, I used to travel a lot. I've traveled to 50 countries. Right now, how YouTube is, those evenings when I don't have anything to do, I go and sit in a bar and just watch bartenders mixing fun drinks, and that's how I learned the craft. So when I come back, there's a lot more happening in major cities in India, like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, even Goa, which was not available in Chennai. The mixology is all about the craft and balance that you bring in a drink. It's not about putting fruit juices into alcohol and mixing up. And even we went ahead and started a movement called Zero ABV. I hate this word mocktail. There's nothing to mock at it. You can call it juice, right? So we created base drinks, and I do have somebody from the industry called Shobhan sitting there, and he runs a bar school. So we crafted zero ABV drinks. We crafted non-alcoholic scotch. We crafted non-alcoholic cocktails.
Non-alcoholic scotch.
Scotch, cocktails, Negronis. That became a big movement. And the world is actually moving towards that direction. A lot of Gen Zs choosing not to drink for various
Just to step in here, I think audience may not be aware, but the fastest growing segment in the US, in the beer market, is the non-alcoholic beer.
It's called the zero ABV. It doesn't have alcohol. And we proudly can say we won the India's best award in the zero ABV section. And when we brought that to Chennai, a lot of attention came to Chennai. And me being part of Storyteller, used that opportunity to tell stories from Chennai. And maybe that's why I'm here. So,
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And give a round of applause for his. So, where did these guys who mix drinks were called bartenders. When did they get called mixologists?
see, mixology is something like a liquid chef. Bartending is you pour straight drinks, you offer soda, tonic. You basically have standards. Mixology is all about finding the right balance in a craft and giving you a very delicious drink. And how do I say this? Like, for example, Indian cooking is a great example. Indian cooking is not like Western cooking where you're assembling few things. It's homogeneous. You put in everything. The moment you taste a curry or a sambar or a chicken curry, you don't know what all ingredients have gone in. It's an amalgamation that comes in a liquid. I feel that's mixology. That's exact. There's a lot more of preparation goes in. It's craft, it's techniques. Then when it comes to your table, you can't visually see ingredients that are separate. It's mixed by a craft and gives you a balanced drink.
So, which is your favorite drink? Why?
I'm a little old school actually from an angle. I like classic drinks. The drinks, I'm a Scotch drinker, so I like something called old fashioned. It's fairly simple, just bourbon, bitters, a little bit of brown sugar. And that's my favorite drink. I like simple drinks. I like drinks that evokes emotions. And I don't like mixing too many things, even though I mix minimal.
For yourself?
For myself.
But for your customers?
For my customers, I would say the world is not moving towards just taste. It has to be visually appealing. It has to come with a story. It should have drama. Even the old smoking effect and stuff like that is going. Now there is a movement going on ice program. If you look at the new age cocktails, you can't see the ice. It's invisible. It's called clear ice. There's a craft to make clear ice. Actually, Chennai, we are one of the very few bars which use that, and it comes from Delhi. It's a craft. It's a lot of expensive machinery that you need to put in. So I'm saying people are enjoying spirit-forward drinks. Gone are those days where you drink a cocktail and taste like watermelon juice. Now it has to taste like
So
gin.
these are things you guys are learning, huh? Please. Spirit forward.
It's called spirit-forward.
It's called spirit forward, which means what you're drinking, the spirit is forward. You
It's
get-
forward, and also you'll feel it.
Spirit forward drink is
And that's the movement that's happening.
is a trend, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's a trend right now.
it's a big trend. So people who come to you for which drink? So they must be asking you to, which is the most popular drink that way?
See, when I do a program or a bar program in which we create drinks, like exactly in marketing, we understand the consumer. First of all, for example, I'll take an example and explain to you that in the marketing
Yeah.
side, right? Like, for example, let's take a Pandan Club, my restaurant. I have variety of people walking in, or various age groups, various demographic, various taste preferences. But first, like how in marketing, we define the consumer and then we create a campaign, right? So we have to define the customer. Let's take my mom. I've noticed her always go to a place and say, no ice, put less ice, chillin vena. But I want her to order a drink because she has money to spend. I need her money.
Yeah, you need the money. Yeah.
I need her money. I need all the kitty ladies who's coming in the evening to have a gin or something. I've created a drink with this without ice.
Without ice.
Without ice. So that's the demography that I'm going behind. And it comes in a champagne flute. It looks stylish. You can say cheers and you look cool. So my drinks program is based on who the audience is. And then there is a drink called movie night.
Movie night.
It's called movie night. Chennai is big into movies. When you go to Satyam Theatre or now PVR, movie could be good or bad. What do you order? What's the first drink that you've had in college? What is that? Like, name a brand. I mix these two. An Old Monk Negroni mixed with a popcorn infusion.
Huh,
When you
popcorn?
popcorn infusion. It's called movie night. And my restaurant is in T Nagar and Kodambakam is close by. I told the story. Most sold drink. And who's drinking it? Gen Z. My father's drink is Old Monk, so I want to try it. But
Old monk?
Old Monk, it's called something called a fat wash. You soak popcorn into it and put it in a freezer. Because of the fat, the popcorn gets absorbed in Old Monk and it gives you the flavor of popcorn. And then we mix certain
Oh my
aromas.
God.
And that's
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. Yeah. One day seminar on movie night drink.
yeah.
On mixing. Okay.
Mixing.
In
And-
fact, I should tell you this. When I called him to come for this, he agreed and he said, "Can I bring some liquor and mix it in front of your audience?" I said, I don't think MMA's policy will allow that, and club captain will probably shoot us. But if you're doing it, you have not told me that you're doing it. But I think he's been nice. He didn't bring his neck.
Yeah. So when you say what is the favorite, we build drinks for audience, and we market it to that specific audience, and that's mixology for me. It doesn't stay just from making the drink. It's also communicating that to the consumer and making them consume with that story in mind is important.
You have a brand?
I go by a brand called Big Banda, and that's my brand.
You covered all of the chapters. Okay, so we'll come back to you, Manoj.
Sure.
I think, I've kind of piled on to you too much, but let me come to Ram. And it seems Ram has some questions for me, which he has told me he will not alert me ahead of time. So these are like surprise quiz he's starting. Anyway, start.
No, first question is about, this is very recent
might know, having been in the advertising industry. Actually, my questions are not entirely related to the book, but little beyond the book probably. But I thought we'll take advantage of your experience and whatever knowledge you have. First is, you must have heard of this guy, Mark Reed, WPP, who resigned. They say he resigned because he could not manage the digital adoption of this advertising agencies. I mean, WPP, everybody knows, is one of the largest. So where is this heading? What's going to happen to the ad agencies going forward? Is there going to be a big transformation or a churn? How do you see things are happening overseas and in India?
Your guess is as good as mine, right? Because currently the big agencies are going through their own chaos. My old agency, FCB, which is part of Interpublic, has been acquired by Omnicom. So they're going to bring all these agencies together. Interpublic had McCann, FCB, Ulka, and Loeb Lintas. Now that's going to be mashed together with DDB, BBDO, and TPW. Now what's going to come out of this whole masala mix could be another book called Advertising Mixology. Right? But the big problem is the big agencies are under threat from two totally different ends. On the one end, their business is being threatened by the consultants. Accenture has a very big advertising practice. So does McKinsey, very big advertising practice. So Accenture, McKinsey know CEOs. So they're going to talk to CEOs and say, look, your advertising is not delivering results. We will do it for you. So they're going to come there. At the bottom, there are these independents, even India. For my last book launch, I had invited a guy called Harshil Karia. Now, Harshil Karia runs an agency called Shebang. Now, Shebang is 5 years old. It employs 2,000 people. Zach, 2,000 people. And, he's got offices in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, and in London and Amsterdam. Right? So, all this he has done in 5 years, which FCB probably took 25 years to get there. But that's happening. Clients are going to go both ways. Some clients are going to go to McKinsey, Accenture. Some clients are going to go to the smaller agencies. In the middle are the old legacy agencies who are still trying to find their feet. But I think the circle will go around. Now I'm told big clients are saying, we don't want multiple agencies. Can you, Publicis, handle my whole thing? Right? You handle my advertising, handle my PR, handle my digital, handle my website, handle my analytics. So it's going to go that way. So that's also happening. Where it will all end, I don't know. And of course, the big question mark is AI. Right? How is AI going to be used? Will it, I started my career in advertising, and for almost 2 years, I was a very diligent minutes taker in meetings. I used to take minutes and write pretty good minutes. Now you don't need that job at all. I mean, that can be outsourced to an AI app. All you need to do is keep your mobile phone on when the conversation is going on and then go back, transcribe it. I mean, Zach and his team here, we were having a meeting with a client the other day, and 5 minutes later, I got the minutes. Pretty well written. Now, what's going to happen to those young account executive trainees whose job is to write those minutes? Now, if they don't learn to write the minutes, tomorrow they will not be able to find fault with minutes written by ChatGPT. So it's going to be a kind of a slippery slope. So these are things which agencies have.
Just a quick follow-up question is, how did Accenture and McKinsey get into this, and what is the skill they brought in which advertising agencies didn't have? Must have happened in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah. So I think, in FCB we used to pride in ourselves by saying that we are not an ad agency, we are a marketing consultant. In fact, I remember Piyush, pulling my leg saying, "Tumhara kya agency nahi hai, tum to consultant ho," right? So good old days, agencies used to have a seat at the table of the CEO. We used to be on hello terms with key clients, whether it was Mr. Premji or Ravikant or Ramadurai. They used to call us, we used to call them, right? No more. Now the relationship an agency has gone down from CEO to CMO all the way down to the brand manager. Whereas who owns the relationship at the CEO level? It's the consultant. It's a McKinsey, the Accenture, the Bain, BCG. They own the relationship. So they can easily push the client towards the situation that your advertising agency is not doing a good job. I will put my team to analyze your advertising and recommend what solutions you can work on. And that's happening, unfortunately.
I'll ask you the second question, which is, you talked about integrated communication. And today we know digital presence is 100% required. And of course, earlier days there used to be a media plan and all people used to make. And it was pretty simple, I think, not so complicated. How is this evolving? Because is there an algorithm? Is there a way to measure how much you should put here? How are people doing? That's what I wanted to know. Maybe the audience may also be interested. How do you allocate money in this?
There is no one formula, right? Good old days when I started my career in advertising, the media we used was print, newspaper, magazines, and cinema, right? And a little bit of radio. Then television became big. We started using Doordarshan, and then Doordarshan then kind of became satellite TV, and then now it's all digital. No media plan is complete, or media plan starts with YouTube and Meta, and then you add other things. But there are a lot of metrics available, right? There are metrics on impressions, metrics on views, cost per 1,000 impressions, cost per 1,000 views, which is delivering better. But the problem with all the data that I see of these digital campaigns is the data is given by Meta and YouTube, not by an independent third party, right? So I don't know. I mean, I was told yesterday by someone who's in this space saying, YouTube is counting views as 1 second, right? I mean, Navneet, CEO of Hindus here, probably he can explain, but someone said, no, YouTube is counting a view if you see the full 30-second message. But someone else said, no, YouTube actually counts, Navneet, I don't know whether now YouTube counts what? 5 seconds as a view? 6 seconds as a view? Right? And a client who's spending money on YouTube 2 days ago was telling me YouTube counts 30 seconds as a view. I said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, it's not 30, Chandni. Please go back and check with your media agency. And don't even look at impressions. Impression means nothing. Right? So, cost per impression, cost per view, cost per click. Then there is something called a CAC in the entire digital ecosystem. What is CAC? It's called customer acquisition cost. Now everyone is now chasing the lower and lower customer acquisition cost. So it's one hell of a lot of clients throw a lot of money on digital and hope something will work. Right? So you spray and pray that something works. If you're a digital first company, then you know that people are coming to your website and buying it. Otherwise, it's a tough question to answer.
My last question is, with all this, what is going to be the longevity of brands? We have seen this 50 years, 100 years, and we talk about Coke and Pepsi and all that. But do you have to spend a hell of a lot of money to extend the life of these brands, or new ones are going to come because of the competition? Many people are starting everything.
Yeah, well, brands have been declared dead many times. The last time they were declared dead was when supermarkets launched their own brands, right? In UK, in the early 60s and early 70s, Sainsbury, Tesco, all of them launched their own, detergent, their own soap, their own thing, and privately, right? Private label branding. Private labels are supposed to kill branding, but that didn't happen. Brands continued, and in fact continued to grow. Then came the era of outsourcing, So there's a lady called, I've written about it in the book, I think, Naomi Klein, who wrote a book called No Logo, where she said, why will an educated consumer pay $40 for a Nike shoe when the consumer knows the shoe is made in China and the same shoe is available, or a similar shoe is available in Walmart for $10? So she said, no logo. Logos are going to be dead. Right? Didn't happen. In fact, Economist wrote a cover story 5 years later saying pro logo. Because the more world becomes chaotic, consumers go to what is familiar to them. They go to trusted brands, right? They go to brands which they can trust. I don't want to spend 5 hours or 5 minutes thinking of which detergent I want to buy. Easy choice, I go buy Surf Excel or whatever, it's easy. But competition is coming, so market share will get eroded. New players will come. That will happen. Like what's happening in the paint industry, right? It will happen. Every industry it will happen. The other thing which is happening, which is very interesting, is in India, we've always seen, yes, Rajan, there are seats here. So India, we've seen a very kind of bottom-heavy consumer pyramid. Most brands in India cater to that mass consumption market. Like the let's say the Pond's vanishing cream kind of a product used to dominate the market. Right? And later, let's say Fair and Lovely. What is happening in the last 5 years or 10 years, not 5 years, maybe 7 years, is that multiple segments are emerging. Consumer is willing to pay more, right? And consumer has become, quote unquote, more intelligent, so to speak. So my students in SPJMR gave me this nice term. Today, consumer has become skintellectuals. So this consumer knows, I want ceramide. Which creams will give me 5% ceramide? I want retinol. Which cream will give me 7% retinol? And they go and pick up that brand and they're willing to pay 1,000 rupees for it, right? And a brand called Minimalist? Minimalist, which is what? What is the top line of the Minimalist? How much is the top line of the brand? 250 crores, right? It's about 4 years old. It makes a profit of 20 crores, right? How much did Unilever pay for that brand? 3,000 crores, right? They paid a top line multiple of something like 15 for that brand. Why? Now, maybe they'll go wrong and they'll, have to write off something. But they feel this brand has caught on to something, which they've caught on to a trend of intellectual consumers who are willing to pay 1,000 rupees for a product and happy with it, and they'll continue to use it, and hopefully they'll grow. Right? So the pyramid is now no longer that bottom heavy. There are multiple segments emerging in every category. Every category, consumer is willing to pay more. They want a better product. They want a better experience. Look at the Automa. Look at the car. I mean, I spent 18 years working on the car category with Tata Motors. The largest selling car in India for many, many years was Alto. Right? Alto is no longer the top selling car. The last 4 years, Alto is not even in the top 5. Right? Other cars have come. I'm told Creta was the largest selling car brand last month. Tata has a small SUV called Punch. That was a top selling brand. So consumers wanting to upgrade. So consumer is changing, and that's the interesting thing which marketers are tapped onto.
Thank you so much. Excellent insights.
Yeah. So Sathya, your question now. You want to ask me a question?
So let's come back to the mixology part of marketing, right? These 4 components that you describe, Ambi, what are the different, how does it constitute, right, and composite in different situations? How should people think about when and where?
I asked for trouble.
More or less of this.
I asked for trouble. Okay. So I think the most important job in marketing is one. What is the most important job in marketing? Most important job in marketing is understanding consumers. Right? Peter Drucker said this. The only job an organization has to do is find and keep a customer. So the first chapter is on understanding consumers. And I think we don't spend enough time, effort in understanding consumers. I overemphasized the fact that as marketers, we should meet customers, we should do home visits, we should do, shop visits. I overemphasized this, and I know Dorab was very unhappy because Dorab was a leading market research professional. We also have Ashok sitting somewhere. If you're in marketing, you should spend time in the market, meeting customers, right? So good companies even prescribe that 5 days a week, 5 days a month, you have to go and spend time in the market. Visit homes, visit shops, visit customers, talk to customers. That's the number one job. Everything else follows. I mean, once you meet customers, and then of course you need to do qualitative research, quantitative research, interpret research, get insights. But therefore, the most important job is understand consumers, find out what they are missing, and then tailor your product. So we go to then branding, to tailor your brand to satisfy that, and then figure out how to negotiate, how to sell, and then figure out how to communicate. So in a sense, the book is kind of a logical flow, the book, and that's the whole idea. Yeah. Okay. So we have 15 minutes left. We can throw open to. You have a question for me? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
So when we spoke about this, you said you've kind of distilled years of your experience into these 4 skills. Was there a 5th that made the cut, or was it very close to making the cut, or how did you arrive at these 4?
It's a tough question to answer. I think in fact, when Gautam's colleague said I should, write 2 more chapters, I started searching. What are the key skills? And I've looked at it as core skills and soft skills. Certain skills you need in any sector, right? Like team building, communication, ability to motivation. These are skills you need whether you're a finance or whether you're a small businessman, whatever, right? So you need that. But then in marketing, I found these 4 kind of resonated better. Of course, there are 2 or 3 more core skills which I could have written about. One, of course, is go-to-market. The go-to-market strategy is important. I've not, that's a potential chapter I looked at. The other is digital marketing. But I'm not totally comfortable with the topic of digital marketing. I don't know enough. So that's why I didn't attempt to write it, which is why I stuck to this, what I knew. So in a sense, this book is underemphasizing digital marketing because I don't know enough. But the fundamentals are all there, and that's how I shortlisted these 4. And I wrote them. In the last chapter, I given a list of other skills you need, both core skills and soft skills, which you need to be successful in business. And that's there for you to take a look at. So that's my answer to your question. Thank you. Oh, some question has come on the screen. My God. So, Ram Prakash is asking, I think we've discussed this, right? I mean, today, a lot of youngsters believe they can answer all marketing problems by looking at their computer or their smartphone. I'm saying that's a fallacy. You have to go out there, rubber has to hit the road, you've got to talk to consumers and figure out, right? Because behavior you can get by finding out on digital who's saying that, but you don't get to know why, right? The why will happen only when you go and talk to consumers, observe them, and then interpret what they're doing. So this is a example where a brand communication played a pivotal role in brand turnaround or crisis recovery. Okay, so where's Karthik? So I did an interview just yesterday where the same question was asked. Yeah, same question was asked. So I'll repeat the answer I gave you. So this is a story which I've written about in I think, one of my books, definitely. We were fortunate to work on the Tata Motors launch of their passenger vehicle, Tata Indica. And as the campaign went well and they got 117,000 fully paid bookings, the car launch was delayed Finally, the car came out, started selling, and the car had issues, right? And the sale had started declining and had hit something like 2,000 cars per month. That's when Mr. Tata, whose entire reputation he had staked it on the launch of India's first passenger car, told his team, go meet customers, find out what is the problem and solve it. So they made a team consisting of engineering, sales, marketing, had 30 customer meets across the country, met probably 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 customers, found out what the problem was. One was the suspension was a problem, so tires were wearing out. The other was where the belt was making a lot of noise because the flywheel was a little small. So they had to fix it. They fixed it. They relaunched. They were ready. I mean, the new car started rolling out, but sale was not going up. Sale was stuck at 2,000, right? So we started, agency and the client started sitting and talking. So we said, look, Tata has a huge amount of trust in the market. So you can get people back, but you have to send them a signal that this is a new car. So Rajiv Dubey and Krishnan said, it's not a new car, it's an old car. He said, no, you have to send a signal that it's somewhat different. So they said, what do you mean? So he said, we should give it something. So we called it, I said, we'll call it Indica V2. They said, look, Ambi, this is a car. This V2 and all is okay for, surf and rin and all that. This V2 and all you can't do with car. We said, no. We'll do it with car. Do we have any other solution? No. So then let's leave it to us. We will do the campaign. We did the campaign. We did print advertising. We did TV advertising. We called it the Indica V2. And car sales, which was 2,000, 2,200, 12 months later hit 5,500. Car was the same. Price was the same. What was different was the communication. So it turned the fortunes of the company, of the brand, gave the company confidence to launch the sedan, which is Indigo, which they launched later. And when Mr. Tata was given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the auto industry in Detroit, and that talk is available on YouTube. You can watch that talk, the 10-minute talk by Mr. Tata, where he says that no one gave him confidence that he will succeed with the car industry. Right? And people, even his friends, started distancing themselves from him. And he calls this is called distancing yourself from failure. Right? And he says, but he said the team managed to turn it around and we became a success. We launched Indigo. Then of course he went and acquired Jaguar Land Rover. Right? So that I think was a example from my life of how brand communication managed to turn the fortunes of a brand which had been given up as dead. Right? So we should ask, inge kai poiruk ba navneet kakrar. You don't send the mic. Hey, no, Navneet, the CEO. No, give him the mic, yeah. Ramkumar wants to answer a question. Not that, nobody's asking a question. No, I think Ramkumar only. Ramkumar has to answer this.
You answer the question.
You can answer the question.
Yeah. Ram, you want to answer the question? Is it Ramkumar asking the question or is the question addressed to Ramkumar?
Having led financial turnarounds, how critical is brand building in traditionally commoditized industries like manufacturing or auto components? I think the branding in auto components is there for proprietary items like, Myco, Bosch, all these have brands. But if it is run-of-the-mill products, like many of the products are just turning and pressing and, some grinding and all that, then it's only the name of the company which is If they ask you, which company is supplying this, so I can tell you with some pride because I worked with Murugappa Group and Tube Investments. We used to supply precision steel tubes for two-wheelers and four-wheelers and all that. We were always thought of as a little higher price, but they said if it is coming from this factory and this company, this product has to be good. We will give it a try. And any new products, we used to get more and more orders. But branding as such, not in the typical sense of how we do it in consumer products, B2C is possible. But it has been possible in some of the products, only you go to only Bosch and nobody else will buy anything else. And many other proprietary kind of items. Maybe in batteries, there is some branding which is possible. Even then, most of them are equated over a period of time, is what I have to say. You have anything to add?
No, I think what you said is right. In B2B, it is organization branding which matters, right? So, like Tube Investments is a brand. So Navneet?
My question, Ambi, is how have you applied these 4 essential ingredients in imagining this book, crafting it and marketing it?
Sorry, I didn't hear it, fortunately.
So there are 4 ingredients part of marketing mixology. How have you applied each of these ingredients?
How to?
How have you applied these in imagining, crafting and marketing this book?
While writing the book, I'm applying it. This is part of it, boss.
Each of them. Each of them.
First of all, this book is very clear. I'm targeting it at a 25 to 30-year-old young marketing executive or someone who's in sales want to get into marketing. So that is my target consumer. My target consumer, unfortunately for us, I'm on the board of Hindu, he's the CEO, doesn't read enough newspapers. So what did I do? Therefore, I am going a little bit turbo on social media. Right? In fact, I don't know how many of you have seen this guy called Sanjay Arora, who does these videos every day. I contacted a few of them and Sanjay was kind enough to talk to me and I discovered Sanjay's brother called Prince Arora. His name is Prince Arora, worked with us in Ulka and he was very nice. He said, Ambi, I'll do a video. I've not done too many book videos, but I will not be fully positive. So because he only criticizes everything, right? So I said, yeah, go ahead, criticize. Yeah, doesn't matter. One American boss I had who said, any publicity is good publicity. So I've reached out to people like that, right? And they've been kind enough, they've said nice things and seems to be working, right? So who is the target consumer? What is the payoff I'm going to give him? So I've even written the book. If this book, read it and go, you'll be able to answer most questions which HR will ask you about marketing. So it's an easy guide, right? So you want to get into marketing, it's a good thing. You're in IT, you want to understand what is marketing. In fact, in Bangalore, I was signing some copies at the Bangalore airport. Before signing, I saw the book was displayed and someone picked it up. A young chap picked it up. He looked at the book. Then he went, looked at some other book, I kept quiet. I was just watching. Then he went and paid for this book. So then after he paid for the book, I went to him and said, thank you for buying the book. So I said, I'm the author. He said, oh, wow, you're the author. Can you autograph? I autographed it for him. And then I asked him, boss, are you in marketing? Why did you buy this book? Any idea which field he was in? The hint is Bangalore, right? You throw a stone, it's IT. So he was an IT guy. So I said, you're an IT guy, why did you buy this book? He said, no, I've been always wanting to know, what is this marketing? So this book was interesting, cover was interesting, it didn't look too heavy, so I picked it up, right? So I've also mentioned, I've co-written a textbook on strategic brand management. That's 450 pages, right? I know 25,000 or 20,000 copies of the book is given to B schools every year. 40,000 copies of Kotler is given to B school students. I don't think even 40 copies are opened and read. Because it's a TLDR. What is TLDR? Too long, don't read. Right? The too long, don't read generation don't want to even pick up that book. Right? So this book is meant for them. It's meant for the TLDR generation. So don't worry. It's easy. One flight from Bombay or Chennai to Bombay and back, you'll finish the book. And you'll be ready to answer some question. Right? So that's the clear thing. So thank you for asking the question. And letting me plug the book once again. Sathya's got a question. Oh my God.
Okay, so in your work with Apollo Pro Health, how did consumer understanding drive preventive care, innovation, and personalization? Lots of big words there, but let me break it up. Going back to your answer, right, around the 4 dimensions that are covered in the book, I do agree that understanding and knowing the consumer is primary and almost disproportionately demands, sort of one's attention. Going back to sort of even at the Hindu group, right? One of the fun things we did was set up a reader intelligence unit where we said, listen, we have access to so many people. How do we help brands from across the country understand the South Indian consumer? Coming back to sort of preventive care, one of the things I insisted our teams do, and myself included, is firstly is what you refer to, Ambi, in the book around observational studies, right? So the first 4 months in the job, I actually took one of the doctor's offices and sat in the midst of the patient flow, which then allows you to understand and observe where they go, what they do, how often, how long someone is here, and so forth. And therefore, everyone who came and joined my team subsequently had to actually pick a center where they didn't know anybody and almost go mystery shop and come back with insights on what they would do differently. In terms of how that therefore drove innovation and personalization, we realized very quickly that there were a few things that were missing when we said the word, right, preventive health. Most people firstly don't understand what that means, right? And it's a mouthful. But if I say health checkup, everyone gets it. And so we actually simply went with, listen, let's not worry about preventive health. That's the name of the department. That's how we'd like to call ourselves. That's communication internally. But that's not necessarily how and what we say to the consumers. We go with where they are, which is health checkup. The second thing we realized is, well, you go do a health checkup. Everyone gets a long, thick report, multiple tests, green, red, yellow, and then what? And so one of the things we actually then came to do is put some, for the skin intellectual, people who essentially want science behind a number of these things, started to actually use technology to synthesize. Very quickly, first page will say, these parameters, you're okay on these, not on these. The other thing we realized is the doctor, and you want the doctor, right? They only have about 1.5 minutes for you, right? And in that 1.5 minutes, how do you actually focus their attention? But more importantly, you walk out of there, and that's when actually all the 15 questions come to your mind. So we set up a follow-up program as part of the entire program, where you actually get a call within a week from health coaches that have your results and therefore are able to engage with you, answer your questions, tell you actually what to do to lose that weight or improve your cholesterol levels and so forth. So a number of these things were baked into what I'm going to call a much more holistic product. We also then realized that there were people who didn't want to spend much. And then we had people who wanted to spend a lot. In fact, they were actually taking flights to the UK and to the US to get their health checkups done. So why not do it down the street on Greens Road, right? And so we ended up curating products by understanding, speaking to the different segments of consumers. Those that didn't want to pay that much, we actually modularized the product. Said, you come in, just start with something. In your liver function test, you don't need all 8 in the first go. You only need 3. Let's start with that. Right? How do you actually modularize? Other end of the spectrum, we actually curated something that was everything and anything that you wanted. So a lot of our innovation, right, came out of truly understanding and going to the consumers, having those detailed discussions, observational studies, also watching how they read their reports. So we'd give them a tab or give them their file and just watch what they did. Where did they stop? Where did they look confused? Where did they start? Where did they finish? And I think a lot of that is what actually drove some of the product innovation that we did.
Great. So thanks, Sathya. This question is, I think, to me, in your you've seen consumer understanding evolve. Okay, so I think today you get a lot of data about consumers from various platforms. You get, Google review tells you what the consumer thinks of you. Amazon review tells you what the consumer thinks of you. And you also know what they think of your competition. So you can actually pull and you can actually scrape the net, pull out all these reviews, put it onto a AI tool to analyze it and give you a word cloud. This used to take days a few years ago. You had to physically scrape out all the comments, and then someone has to physically read it and sort it. Today, it's all done in a few minutes. So if you're in any marketing, big business, small business, you have to track your reviews. And my sister is there, she's a dermatologist. She has Google reviews, right? If you go to Google Maps, you see the reviews there. And you have to read the reviews, analyze the reviews, and reply to those. That's free. That's free research for you, right? Of course, most people will write negative stuff. We ought to be ready for that, right? Reviews will be disproportionately negative. So maybe 5:1. For every one positive, there'll be probably 4 negative. But you got to be ready for that. But if you are in any marketing, if you're not spending time analyzing the free data you get, you're making a mistake. The big companies have gone to the other extreme. They've created what are called digital listening posts, where there are 20 people sitting in, with those huge NASA type screens where they're monitoring what are the comments being said, and they're interpreting them, they're answering them, right? You don't need to do that. Whatever business you're running, the simple thing you should do is to just track what reviews people are writing about your business on social media platforms and take some corrective action. Okay, so. Time irka? I think one hand has gone up here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, boss.
In the world of marketing, when today's scenario where a lot of chaos is there, so much of digital marketing and companies are pumping in so much of money for marketing and advertising, is it really applicable to all types of industry? For example, why I want to know in healthcare industry. We have tried a lot of social media marketing and we have a doctor there. But my customer, doctor, he doesn't even bother what's happening in Instagram or the other stuff happening. So in these type of specific segment wise, what would be the wise decision for marketing consultants?
So there is no one size fits all, right? For pharma marketing, I do some consulting with pharma companies. There are, like LinkedIn, there are some specific social media platforms for doctors, right? And some clients, some brands have figured out those work good. The other thing which has happened in the after COVID especially, is that pharma companies have figured out webinars can work. And doctors are willing to attend webinars as long as the speaker is very good. So because it is online, you can get a speaker from London or from New York or from Johns Hopkins or Mayo Clinic. You can get them to talk. And I know that, companies like, Sun Pharma or, they run these webinars every month and thousands of doctors attend the webinars. So it depends on what the product is, what the category is, how do you tailor it. Obviously, for a pharma brand, you can't advertise on YouTube or Meta, but you can create public service communication, right? If you remember, which is the hottest pharma product entering India? Ozempic and Wegovy, right? So what has Novo Nordisk done in the last 2 months? You might have seen the ads. It came in, I think even in Hindu, it came in many newspapers. They're now trying to tell consumers obesity is a disease, right? And you can take a medicine for it. So when you communicate the fact obesity is a disease, you externalized a problem. Till now, what did you tell someone who's overweight? You're eating too much. You're not exercising enough. Right? You're leading a sedentary lifestyle. No, Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly is told, don't worry. You're overweight, you're obese, that's a disease. And we can cure it for you. How? You take an injection every week, costing you 5,000 rupees. And we'll fix you. Right? So they have not sold a drug. They've changed consumers' perception towards a problem. I wrote an article in the Business Standard. Some years ago, another company changed consumers' perception about another problem. Till then, that problem was seen as terminal. But they changed it into a small problem. What am I talking about? ED. What is ED? Erectile dysfunction. Right? What was it called before Pfizer told us it is ED? It was called impotence. Impotence is something you can't fix. Right? It's for life. But Pfizer came and said it is not impotence. It's ED. And I'll give you a little blue pill. You're good to go. Right? So pharma industry is figuring out, all these things, tricks which you've been in pharma long enough. So, yeah, who's wanting to ask? Okay, Divya saying what mistake? The mistake with brands make are twofold. One is you're not investing enough in consumer research, right? I'm saying if you're spending 15% of your top line on advertising, you should be spending at least 1% on consumer research, right? And that will help you utilize that 10% you're spending on advertising and get you better returns. So I don't think companies are spending enough time going and meeting consumers, analyzing consumers, and spending money on classical research. Classical research still works. Of course, digital throws up a lot of data. A lot of the data is useless, but that is the data. You have to sit and actually analyze it and interpret it into what we call insights. So from data comes knowledge, knowledge comes insight. So I don't think companies are doing enough of that. So, boss, we are done. Thank you. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you to the wonderful, wonderful panel we have here. Thank you very much.
Okay, gentlemen, I think they deserve a very, very big round of applause for making marketing so simple. Thank you, Ambi. I may request Lakshmi to step forward, do the honor of presenting more books for them to read. Maybe some of our committee members who are here can join us on stage. Join us. He's already reading. Okay. You have to give it. Come, Manoj. That's different for you to read. Okay. Get you into reading. This for. Come. Thank you. Come, Manoj. This chair. Come, sir. Thank you.